What is good with y'all? It's your boy Chris, and we're back on Spurs Spotlight with another banger.
Yeah, y'all gonna stop coming in my live talking about this Victor dude, bro. We hooping this year. Y'all gonna see.
Today, I want to go over something a little bit different. We don't got news. I kind of want to give our boy Brian Wright some props. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about Brian Wright in the community. I have a feeling y'all know how I feel about Brian Wright. I love Brian Wright, man. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Top 3 GM in the league. Just because what he has to work with. You know what I'm saying? He came to San Antonio. You know it's not a big free agency destination, or it wasn't until we got Wemby. He's made some pretty low-key moves that have gone underrated by fans. And today, we're gonna go over the history of Brian Wright since he's became GM and see what he's really done and give him some props. We'll even look at the bad things too, because nobody's perfect. He has made a couple moves that are pretty bad. Overall, I think it's been pretty good. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So shout out to Zach Caldwell, PTR. Y'all go ahead and follow him, sports journalist. He said, I always see a lot of talk in the timeline about how good or bad of a GM Brian Wright is. So why not look at some of the team building decisions made by Wright during his tenure so far? So he became general manager on July 24, 2019. That's been 5 years now. He's low-key cooked, I'm not gonna lie. But in 1920, he re-signed DeJounte Murray to a 4-year, $64 million deal. A-plus move. As you know, he eventually became an all-star, and we had him on this 4-year, $64 million deal, which we were able to move him, and this added value to Atlanta and their trade package, which eventually became... Well, we'll get into it down here. But you know, this trade right here was amazing. And part of it was due to this deal that Brian Wright extended DeJounte Murray on. Going to 2021, drafted Devin Vassell at 11. Come on now. As we know, Devin Vassell's becoming, he's the star in the making, in my opinion. He has the potential to be an all-star. And to get that at 11, in a redraft, he would be going top 7 for sure. There's no doubt he slips past 7. 6, nah, he could go 6 for sure. There could be an argument for him to go 5, but I don't have the people pulled up in front of me right now, so I can't really rank them. Great draft. People give him some stuff for having Tyrese Halliburton fall past it, but hey, it is what it is. The Devin Vassell, great pick. Now this right here, Trey Jones at 41. If you look up the players drafted at 41 overall, Trey Jones is one of the best players to ever be drafted from 41. If you pull up the history of that pick, Trey Jones is probably one of the best point guards to be drafted at 41. Underrated draft move from Brian Wright, and people don't give him credit for this. Trey Jones is the backup point guard of the future, and we sniped him at 41. He played with Zion at Duke. Don't come at me glazing in the comments, but I gotta give my boy credit where it's due. I don't see nobody else doing it, so I'm going to do it. Re-sign Jakob Poeltl to a 3-year, $26 million deal. I don't have much to say about that. Re-sign Derek White to a 4-year, $73 million extension. Great move by Brian Wright. Not too much to say about this. This was well-deserved. Bought out LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, this one right here was a little questionable. I feel like he should have been traded a little earlier prior to this, because by the time this came in 2021, LaMarcus had no market. Nobody wanted to trade for LaMarcus, so we should have traded him maybe a year or 2 prior to this. That was kind of a bad move because we didn't get much value out of LaMarcus when we could have got something in return. But I mean, he was general manager in 2019. You don't get in here and just trade their best player, because LaMarcus was our best player at 2018 to 2019. But after that, he fell off and we had to buy him out. Right here is where it gets a little controversial. I know people give Brian Wright a lot of stuff for drafting Josh Primo. But look, I'm not condoning anything what Josh Primo did. That was bad, but that was a good pick. We didn't know, nobody knew Josh Primo had these issues going on. But looking at this from a basketball perspective, Josh Primo at 11, he had the potential to be a second option next to Wemby, in my opinion. He was that good. You go back and look at the tape, the poise he had for being so young, 18, 19 years old, he was cooking. He was cooking early. And I saw the potential. I know Brian Wright saw the potential. This was a snipe in the draft. If Primo would have stayed in the league and not done what he'd done, I think y'all would have all been praising him for this Josh Primo pick. But hey, you know, whatever happened. And I don't really knock Brian Wright for this, because it was Nobody saw this coming. Here we have signing Zach Collins to a 3-year, $21 million deal, $7 million a year. This wasn't bad. He was coming off an injury, and we just wanted to see what he had in him. That was a good move. I'll give that. I'll just say it was a good move. Signing Doug McDermott, 3-year, $42 million deal. This was a little pricey, in my opinion, but this wasn't a bad move at all. He's gone, and it didn't really affect us in any way. Sign and trade DeMar DeRozan for a first-round pick, 2 second-rounders, and Thaddeus Young. Now, here's where he starts cooking. This is where Brian Wright starts cooking. You sign and trade DeMar DeRozan, who was going to leave anyways, and you get a first-round pick for 2025, and that is the pick that is top 10 protected that we have a chance to get in this upcoming draft. And you got that just from DeMar DeRozan leaving in free agency. Beautiful move. Trading an expiring Thad Young for a first-round pick. I believe he traded him to the Raptors. I'm not too sure where he traded him, but trading Thaddeus Young for a first-round pick? Come on now. Like, what are we talking about? It's Thaddeus Young, and we're getting a first-round pick from him. Traded Derek White for Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, and a first-round pick and a pick swap. This right here, yeah, we could have got more for Derek White, but I don't think people were going to offer us more for Derek White because he was with the Spurs. I knew he was this type of player. Many of Spurs fans knew he was this type of player. Boston wasn't going to give us 2 first-round picks or 3 for Derek White because he's in San Antonio. And I mean, I think they wanted to see him prove it on a higher platform because he was playing for San Antonio when we weren't good. Granted, this wasn't bad. Josh Richardson was a good role player for us. Romeo Langford's gone. A first-round pick, which is in 2028, I think, and a pick swap. Not the best, but it's good. It's solid. We didn't get fleeced, I don't think, but we could have got more. In my opinion, nobody was going to offer more than really what this was just because he was on the Spurs. Now, 22-23, we drafted our Sochi Bear at number 9. That was a beautiful draft pick. Drafted Malachi Branham at 20. It's all right. I don't know who was on the board. Looking back at it, I'm pretty sure we could have got somebody better. And then drafting Blake Wesley at 25. These 2 picks right here, these weren't the best. I'll say it myself. The thing with this is we didn't have our star player yet. We didn't know the type of team we were building at that point. So we were just shooting for the best potential, best upside. And as you know, these 2 haven't really worked out as we wanted them to. But they're not terrible picks. I'll say they're bad picks. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. They're bad picks. And when you take in context of the situation where we didn't have our star player and potential, we're just shooting for potential, it makes these picks not look as bad. Right here is where Brian Wright really cooked. He really cooked. I'm not gonna lie. Traded DeJounte Murray for 3 first-round picks and a pick swap. Giving DeJounte Murray, who's not even in Atlanta anymore, and snatching their future from him. After we built up DeJounte Murray's trade value and traded him at an all-time high for 3 first-round picks and a pick swap, this is the best move he's made so far. This just shows his foresight. He knows he has good foresight to where we don't see it in the beginning, but then it always comes to light. So yeah, man, A+ move. Definitely his best move as GM. Re-signed Keldon Johnson to a 4-year, $74 million extension. This wasn't bad. But I think it's a good move. I think this is a good move because he made it a descending contract to where the contract goes down over time. And even though Keldon Johnson doesn't look like a fit, this contract is favorable for other teams and it adds value to the player that Keldon Johnson is. Traded an expired Jakob Poeltl for a first round and 2 seconds. This became the number 8 overall pick. Trading Jakob Poeltl for the number 8 overall pick and then getting 2 other first rounds out of this. Brian Wright essentially traded Jakob Poeltl for 2 first rounders and 2 second round picks. Like, come on. Who's getting this type of value out of Jakob Poeltl? Josh Richardson for 4 second rounders. Okay move, not really nothing to say there. Signing Champagnie, I think that was a good move. And Mamu off the waivers during the season. As you know, Sandro got his renounced his rights. I mean, I think he's gonna come back on a smaller deal. Just because we renounce his rights doesn't mean he's gone. For sure, he's just an unrestricted free agent, but I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. Champagnie's on cents. We have him for about 4 years, $12 million, I think. So yeah, that was good. I think he could develop into a backup 3-and-D if we keep him. And then 23-24, we tanked and got Wemby at number 1. This right here, we tanked all season. And it paid off. What can we say? This wasn't all Brian Wright, but he had the foresight to tank, and he gave us the best shot we could at Wemby, and it paid off. Our glorious GM, Brian Wright. Look at this man with a fresh taper down here. Like, come on, man. Acquired Reggie Bullock and pick swaps for nothing. That's where I said he hopped in the 3-team trade and just got them for nothing. Re-signed Trey Jones, 2-year, $19 million. Not bad. I think he's going to come up on another contract season after this season. So I got to see what we're going to give him. And like I said, the 4-year, $12 million for Champagnie, that's nothing. Re-signing Devin Vassell to a 5-year, $135 million extension. Some people were saying this is an overpay back when it dropped. But if you look at what players are getting paid now, Devin Vassell for $27 million, that's a steal, man. He's always giving out these banger contracts. These contracts are aging like wine. 5 years, $135 for Devin Vassell, who could potentially be an all-star in the number 2 or number 3 next to Wemby. Beautiful team building. In 24-25, we drafted Castle at 4. I think he's going to be the best point guard to come out of this draft class. You could even say that he has the potential to be the best player coming out of this draft class, in my opinion. Traded the number 8 pick for a first-round pick, a pick swap, $8 million in cap space. This right here is a great move because I didn't see it at first, but acquiring 2 first-round picks and then opening up the space to get Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, we wouldn't have been able to get Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes if we didn't trade this pick. So that right there is also an A+ move. It raises the floor of the team. A beautiful move. Signed Chris Paul to a 1-year, $11 million deal. We said we needed a point guard, so Brian Wright brings in the point guard who is 3rd all-time in assists. He's going to be 2nd by the time he leaves the Spurs. For $11 million, no commitment, 1 year. A+ move. Acquiring Harrison Barnes and a pick swap for nothing but using cap that we saved, and we were flexible. We kept our cap space, and look what we got us. We didn't have to give up nothing besides renouncing the rights of a few end of the bench players and Mamu. Brian Wright in the front office are cooking. So I don't want to see no more slander. I will not tolerate no more Brian Wright slander. Top 5 GM, top 3 GM, however you want to cut it, he's up there. I just wanted to make this video and come show what Brian Wright is cooking up because he's cooking. Oh, one more thing. Right here, this right here is terrible. This right here, not a great move. I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to say this was probably this is a bad move right here. 2 years, $35 million for Zach Collins. Thank God it was 2 years because this was bad. Brian Wright, you've done a lot of good, but this right here, this makes me want to cry. So yeah, we gotta get Zach Collins out of here. But other than that, Brian Wright is cooking, and just appreciate greatness, man, because like he says down here, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So I just want y'all to appreciate Brian Wright. Don't give him no more slander because he's always cooking before we even think he's cooking. And his foresight is second to none. So yeah, man, I just wanted to make this video to appreciate our GM, our glorious GM. I'll be back with some more news if anything drops. I'll be back with some more bangers. No need to fear. I'm here. But make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. The Spurs Spotlight. Get all your news here. And other than that, it's me, your boy Chris, and I'm out. Peace.